All right, so
You just trick integrity and thinking you're an IE when you're not.
the question today we're going to talk about updating and showing pages from our products, but the question was asked how we get a new page to load. And so the first way I'm going to show you is to put a random string at the end of my products page so that it busts the cache of the browser. It forces a new page reload. So if we look at there is a on the there is a random string there's a rand function. Yeah, you could put a date and time. That would work too. Any type of a value that's going to change. So I could put, we're going to just add some value like this, and we're going to append it maybe the date value, which doesn't work. It's date, and I don't think I have to have anything. Let's see. Let's look it up. Date. Yeah, the date. So we just want, I think we can just get the milliseconds, microseconds. R seconds since epoch. This is good. Capital U. Let's do a capital U. So if I do a capital U inside of my string here, let's run this and create a new product. No. Oh. No, that's from here. So I'm just going to append a string on top of that. It doesn't have to be quoted in the URL itself. So let's go. Yeah, that's right. Too many languages. All right, so let's go and create a new page.
Well, you created a lot more.
Yeah, well, we did those. Yeah, we pushed a bunch of buttons last week. We got lots of stuff we could delete now. Come on. The internet is slow today, or the school is slow today. There we go. So we'll call it new product. Create a new product. This goes, saves it, and if we look at the URL now above, we have this t equals and this is the number of seconds since epoch, since 1970, and my new product is here. So the browser saw this as a new page and refreshed it. That's the easiest way to do that. And the cache is the problem on the browser. That's what I'm trying to bust. I'm trying to force a new page to come up. And every time we create a new product, this number is going to be different, and so it will come up with a new page. So that's.
I see what you're meaning. I thought you were just trying to get a refresh.
No. So the other way is to force a refresh, and we can. You'd have to do something like this. Like using the meta tags, the refresh meta tags, make it 0 seconds. But you'd have to print that out in the head of your document. I can't do it in the middle here. I can't do it after my location change. I have to do it up in my templates up here. So it gets a little more messy. I have to I'd have to put it in my products page to do the refresh. So it loads the page, that does a refresh and loads the page again, and that's causing 2 pages every time I go to my products page. So that's not as nice either.
That date one's not so bad. When you're just trying to
It's not too bad. I like it.
I mean, that looks like a pretty random number.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. But
There are other things. You can change the headers of the cache. There are some caching headers, but those always don't work for me. You can add the meta tags for caching. You can add tags in the server itself so that it, like this location tag, I can add things in the header of the response that say don't cache this page. The problem is you can't guarantee that somewhere along the line between you and the user, the server and the user, that some proxy server is caching it or some router is caching it, or it's all the way down the line. You have no control over that, and they can ignore that directive to not cache it because they don't want to have a bunch of traffic on their site, so they'd rather cache it. So the best way I've always found is to change the URL completely. That forces it to refresh.
that's some of the research I was doing on the calendar
Yeah.
last month. They're using the cookies hash, cookies array, to pass variables back and forth. Would that work?
It wouldn't change the refreshing of the page though. Nope. Nope. All right, so that gives you one way to do it. I like that. That's the way I would do it. All right, so let's move on to adding, if I look at my products, I need to have some more information here. I need to be able to show my products. I want a detail page. This is just a listing of all my products, but I want to look at one particular page, right? I want to look at one product. So to do that, let's first add the link in my products page like I did for the delete. So I'm going to have a new cell here that is going to be product, and what do you think this will be called? Show. All right? And I need the ID of the product, just like I needed it for the delete command. I need the ID so that my show page can look up the data from the database and display it on the form however you want it. So I'm going to call this show. And let's reload my page. Now I've got a show method here. And if we look at the URL has the product ID equals some number at the end of it, if you look at as I hover over it. So if I go to show this one, the product ID is set to 5. All right, so I need to now create my product show page with a query string parameter that I can query the database with. All right, so let's do that. And it's very similar to this delete. So I'm going to copy this delete code and go to create a new file, new PHP file. We're going to call it product show.php. All right, there we go. Yep, good. All right, so here's our show page, but not only do we need to show the contact information, I need to find, I need to display the actual Chrome, the look and feel of the page around that. So I'm gonna copy these 2 lines that I had in my products page. I'm going to require those as well. We're going to call this show for now, and we might change that later. And I need to include my connection, and we do a connection, we die if we have an error. We're going to get the value from the query string into a variable that I'm going to play with. We can use this same isNumeric. Remember, we talked about making sure that value is valid so that people can't do SQL injection. So I'm only going to do it if it's a numeric ID. And then I'm going to figure out my SQL command to look up just that information. All right, yes, so we need to just change the SQL command. We need to select what? Everything. Let's get everything from products where product ID equals product ID. All right, so that's good. That gives us a start. And we do actually make the connection. We do the query. Let's go ahead and echo this out just so I know that I've got some stuff right for now. I execute the SQL command, and then I need to get all of that data and print it to the screen somehow. All right, so how do I get the data from the result once I do the query? Right. So we're going to do this this value here. We're going to do a fetch assoc. We only going to have. That's pretty good English. We only going to have us one value, right? We might even force that if we say limit 1. That gets us 1. I mean, I can't imagine there ever being a problem unless the database blows up on me. But I'm going to get one row from the server, and that row now is an associated array, an associative array that I can just use to display my information. All right. So we don't need to redirect. I need to now just display the data from the database in a nice way. All right. So this is all up to you how you display the information. You can put some divs and all kinds of stuff. I'm going to do the same echo. And start displaying. Let's make a div and close our div. Oops. And start displaying some information, like how would I look at the title? All right, I say row, $row, sub, quote, title. Now we have to have the quotes around here. And we close our curly brace, right? He didn't hear his name there. All right, so I'm going to have my title, except it's not title, it's name. And if I forget, I go look at my data source that I have connected here. This is pretty useful. So I have name, description, price. So let's put our name, and then let's put some more stuff. Oops. Name, we're going to have description and price and an image, and that's probably enough for a user's point of view, right? This is enough information. So let's see what we get. Reload my page, and I get nice information. I did a select star from products where product ID equals 5. I got it from the query string, and I limited 1. I got skis for my name, death boards for my description, my price, and my image. Isn't that great? So any questions on that? Obviously, I can style this, add classes. This is all I leave up to you guys to do. You should know HTML by now. You're going to style this. You might put some rounded corners on it. what would be a better way of displaying this information than the path name to the image? The actual image, right? So I might put an image tag around here. Source equals, and then the data from the column. All right, so there we have an image source. But I have to have that image. So that path is images/product/polls. So I need to go and actually create that. So I'm going to create a new folder called products. And inside my products, I'm going to find my polls. So pause. All right, so I put my polls picture inside of my products folder. I called it polls.jpg, which is what I had stored in my database, polls.jpg. So when I refresh my page, now I've got my actual polls in there. Isn't that great? I have a single poll. You have to buy two if you want 2 polls.
Yeah,
All right, so see how easy that is to create a show page? Isn't that just wonderful?
It's amazing, Dave. I am stunned at the amazing.
Are you stunned at that? It's just amazing. So I need some navigation on here. How do I get back to my products page? Well, so I need hit back button. That's not very friendly. Yeah, so I need to go back to this page. So let's add a link after my div, and I'll even put it in a nice little nav tag. And we'll put an A tag in here. And where would I get back to my products page? How do I do that? Right, products.php. That's good enough. That'll work.
Do you want a link on that show page to be able to edit?
No, that's what Derek was saying. I think you're fine if we just leave it. That didn't work. If you leave it on the there we go, on the main products page. So on this page, you're going to have an edit page. So that's good enough. I mean, I don't care how you do it. We could put an edit there if we want. We'll go back and do that just for fun. But yeah, we don't have any admin yet. So, all right. Everybody got that so far? Pretty simple. All right. We'll do admin once we do authentication. So don't worry about that right now. Ugly. All right, so there's our show page, all done, all happy. That's a really simple page. Obviously, I can style this better and do all kinds of stuff, but that's good enough for now. So now I need to go back and add a link so that I can edit that page, right? I want to edit the data in the database. So I'm going to add another cell to my table. And we'll call this product what? Edit. Very good. And I need to know the ID again, so it's the same thing. I'm going to pass the same data, and this is going to be edit. All right. See how fast that was? I added a new link.
We don't have to use the same form created at article with to edit the form?
Yes, we should use the same form. So here's if you look at the URL, the ID changes based on which one I'm going to go to. I click Edit, and it's going to go to /product edit PHP and give me the product ID. So again, I'm going to do the same thing, and it's going to be very close to my new page, right? So I'm going to go and copy my new page. Yes. Pretty much the same. So let's do it this way first. Let me just copy this page, copy, and paste it. So I got the whole thing. I'm going to call it product edit. It's the same, product edit. All right, so the same thing. Our page title is going to be edit product. We need to go have our look and feel on here again. We do our connection to the database just like normal. And before we display our form, we have to get the data from the database. Okay, so how do I get the data from the database? Well, I look at the same show page that I had, and this is what I want. I want to get the product, all the information from the database, right? So I'm going to copy these 4 lines. Actually, we'll copy a little more. I'll get all of this ID here, and all of that is going to be identical, which should lead you to think about what? A method or a function that we could put all that stuff into. Partial, something like that, right? So here we go. I've got, I'm just going to leave this down here for now. On this one, I haven't created it yet, but. Yep. So I'm going to do the same selection. I get the data from the query string. What product am I going to edit? I store that in a variable. If it's numeric, this is my quick check to see that they're only going to give me a number. And then I'm going to query the database for that, get 1 row back, 1 record back. This is actually doing the query. Then I'm going to get a row, which is an associative array, and I can start to use that data to fill in my form, right? I want to fill the same form that I created with the pre-populated data, right? Because I don't want them to have them type it over again. So I'm going to use my same form here inside of this, and instead of name, I'm going to have what type of information here, right? I'm going to get my row associated value here. So this is going to be $. I'm going to have to use curly braces because it's a complex statement. Hopefully this will work. Row sub name. All right, and this is going to be, yes. All right, then I need row sub description. And row sub price. My curly braces. Isn't this fun, editing all this stuff? How did that get deleted? Oh, I see. Why? Yeah. All right, let's see if this will work like this. Nope. Row sub cost. Ah. And row sub image, yeesh. And there we go.
Put on description after the curly brace.
No.
Because it's not a value.
This is a text area. All right, so let's see what it looks like. Oh, let's delete all of this stuff. I don't need any of this stuff now. Yet. Well, I do. Let's delete it for now. Let's make sure everything else works. I need a closing curly brace for this guy. And let's just see if it displays my form. Remember, a piece at a time. So I'm going to load this guy up. There we go. So it did the query from the database, got set up my associative array. I stuffed those into the values where they're needed. and I probably want to change the new product to something, right? That created a new product. Did you notice that? All right, so my value and my method are wrong. I don't need to go to new here. Where do I need to go? Edit. All right, good. And this is going to be update product, something like that. So that should look a little better. All right, update product. And now it's going to go to some place that I have not defined yet. All right, so any questions on that so far? Wow, this is taking a long time. Any questions on that? All right, so now it gets a little more complicated. I'm posting back to this same form. But my form is getting data from where? From the query string up here, right? It gets the product ID from the query string. So I want it to go back to the same product ID. So how do I pass that information into this form here? There you go. Yeah, I could do it right here. Change the query string. I need to post the product ID along with that that action, so that I can get it when I reload my form again. So I need to save that information so I can go across pages that way. All right. So the product ID is going to be curly braces, row, sub what? Let's make sure it's called ID, or is it called product ID? It's called product ID. All right. So, yeah, same thing. Product ID.
Why not just use the ID that you already have there at the top?
I could. Yep. Either way, I could just use ID here, $ID. Then I don't need my little braces. That'll work. Tomato, tomato, either way. All right, so let's go back and update. Let's reload this page and update the product. And now you notice that my product ID is still in the query string, so that I'm getting the same data back, right? So in case there are errors, validation errors or something, I can redisplay this page and put some errors on if I wanted to. But if they, how do I know that they came to this page from my table here versus the posting and updating the product? Of submit, right? Because if they're submitting, that means I know they posted the form from this page. So I need to go and utilize that information up here. I only want to display this if they didn't submit. So I'm going to have a submit up here. If is set of how do I get the value from the form? What array is used to store form data? Post, right. Okay. So I look at post, and I look for the name of my submit button, which happens to be submit. That's very handy. All right. If it's that, I want to do something with that information. I want to actually get the data from the form, update the record in the DB. All right? So I'm going to get the data. Otherwise, I'm going to display all this information and ask them to update it, process my errors, etc. So I'm only going to try to submit if they gave me good information. All right, so I'm going to put this up here because this is going to be done no matter what, so I can get that data. Now, this is going to be the same as if I did a creation. I'm going to get all the data from the form submission just like a creation. So let's go look at my new form, and it looks very similar. Look at this, is set submit. I'm going to get all this data, going to do my query, and then I'm going to relocate myself. All right, so let's go copy all of this information here, and I'm going to put it in my edit page. So I get the data from the form. These are all the names that I'm going to get. I'm going to store them in variables. I'm going to create a now date. And instead of an insert, that creates a whole new record. What am I going to do? Update, right? I'm going to do an update. Products. And these are the values. I mean, the header names. And this is the value, so that's all the same. But I only want to do that where? I need a where clause in there, right? Right, so I need where product ID equals ID. Right, I only want to update that particular record. So that's a long SQL statement. Let's echo this out. Let's take away my header because I don't want to actually do the redirect yet. We want to see if everything works okay. And I'm going to echo out all my data just to make sure I've got this working right. So this is the errors that I might get if the query failed. All right, are everybody up to date with what I'm at here so far? I'm getting the data from the form, creating my query string, actually querying the database, and then echoing out my results. So let's see what happens. All right, so I've got, let's just reload my page. Look at that. I have an error in my SQL syntax for the right syntax to use near product ID. All right? So I have a problem in there. So let's go look at my SQL command. It's right here that it doesn't like. So my update command is wrong. Anybody know what that should be? No. Well, I have the where product ID at the end.
But you're not changing it.
So let's take out the product ID. We don't need that. We're not updating the product ID. And the values, we'll take out this null here. Let's see if that fixes it. All right, so I still have it right next to my parentheses, so maybe my parentheses are wrong. Let's take that out. It doesn't look right, though, right? Doesn't need the what set? Yeah, I know. It doesn't look right. I'm missing something here. All right, we're way off. This is the syntax for updating a table. Update products. We're going to set name, value, name, value, name, value, where my column is my product ID. All right, so I have to change that all around here. So my name equals the value, which is my dollar name. My description equals Dollar description.
Are you sure you need quotes around those?
I don't have to have these quotes, no.
Because I was thinking the dollar sign. It's not really-
As long as I might need them around here though, because my name might have spaces in it, right? So that's important. Same with my description. That's going to have a bunch of words in it. My price equals price. That's going to be a number, so that's okay. My cost is going to be dollar cost. Don't you hate editing all this stuff? My image.
Let's just say for time reasons.
It's going to be dollar image. Created at, I don't want to update, right? I'm not going to modify my created at. My modified at,
Give me that current time.
yep, is going to be equal to current timestamp would probably be the best way. Can take away my parentheses. Where my product ID equals product ID. All right, now we're talking. Does that look better? That looks a lot better. Yeah.
I know that you can do that kind of syntax where it's, these are the column names and these are the row names.
All right. Yeah, the price and the cost. I shouldn't need them there. But my skies, that's spelled wrong. Boards, price, image, modified at, where product ID equals 6. So that's right. The
It did do that.
why is my SQL command coming out wrong? Well, it's trying to go and do another selection here, so we need to, let's go ahead and do my redirect, take away all my echoes, do the actual redirect, and this is otherwise it's going to come down here and try to do another select. See? That's the problem. All right, still have a problem. Look at that. Isn't that great? Well, we're out of time. I'm going to have to fix this, and we'll fix it tomorrow. Cannot modify header. Oh, that's the easy thing. All right, that's enough.